presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are MC.
It's a cool, gray, Midwestern day at the K for Game 3 of this 4-game series with the Toronto Blue Jays and the Kansas City Royals. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Physiak. I went to the bullpen and brought in Jeff Montgomery, who has more saves than any other closer in Royal history. So the pressure's on you to save this homestand.
Steve, that may be more pressure than I've felt since my last save opportunity. I think one way that I was able to get through a lot of these situations, concentrate on one pitch at a time, one out at a time, let the game take care of itself.
All right, that takes us to our Kia pitching report, which takes us to Danny Duffy, one pitch at a time.
Danny Duffy has great stuff. He really needs to trust his stuff today. He has 4 quality pitches, fastball, curveball, changeup, slider. Trust those pitches, mix it up, and pitch efficiently. He needs to get deep into the game, keep this bullpen out of the decision-making today.
And he will need some offense. Some offense like first baseman Eric Hosmer, what he did last night with a big home run. More of that, and the Royals will snap the streak.
Coming up in just a bit, how about the tough luck of Eric Hosmer? Yes, he has struck out somebody. He's been hitting the ball hard, and when you line into a triple play, things just are not going right for you. But Hosmer saying he thinks they're going to start to go in the right direction and fall the right way. It did with a home run last night. I talked with Eric, and he told me that he really believes that it's going to turn around for him. Been hitting the ball better, felt good the last few days. He said that the luck just has not worked for him, and he thinks it will all even out. But to this point, he says, when it rains, it pours. Hosmer and the offense hoping that things are going to start heading in the other direction. The game is coming up next. Danny Duffy is on the hill. A battle of lefties. The call is next.
Official TV, internet, and home phone provider of the Kansas City Royals. The sun has broken through in Kansas City, but John Farrell, he is looking to sweep the Kansas City Royals. You can see what his record is as they're chasing the New York Yankees. They also have to take down Tampa Bay and Boston, who are very strong teams in their division, with the Red Sox off to a poor start. The Blue Jays batting order has Escobar, Vizquel, then Bautista. Encarnacion has been red hot. Colby Rasmus belted 2 last night. Then Laurie, Francisco, Davis, and Arancibia. On the hill, 23-year-old left-hander from Lompoc, California, Danny Duffy.
See, we really have to like what we've seen from Danny Duffy in his 2 starts this season, throwing the ball really well. He needs to get deep in this ball game. I'd really like to see him mix things up, really attack hitters, be pitch efficient getting into this game.
His Around the Horn brought to you by Ford.
Good to see Jason Bourgeois getting an opportunity to start in center field. Very effective against left-handed batters. We'll see Eric Hosmer first and Mike Moustakas at third on the corner. Humberto Quintero behind the dish.
And there is Yunel Escobar, who has just 1 hit in the series. His batting average right now at .246. Good friend of the Royals, Brian Pena. He will face Danny Duffy, who in his last start locked up in an absolute gem of a duel with Justin Verlander, the Major League pitcher who not only won the Cy Young but the MVP last year. That was on Monday. The result was a 1-run Detroit victory. And Danny delivers strike 1. The one thing, Jeff, I liked most about Danny on Monday was the fact that he welcomed the challenge against Verlander.
Yeah, he went toe-to-toe with Justin Verlander, the best pitcher in the American League last year, the MVP.
Fouled back and very quickly he's ahead. 0-2. Austin Jackson was the leadoff man in that Detroit game, and on the third pitch he belted one out when Duffy fell behind. The difference here is he has jumped ahead.
Yeah, really only 2 mistakes in that game from Duffy. Home runs, both hurt him very deeply.
And there is a good breaking ball that is fouled off. No balls and 2 strikes. Kansas City has lost the first 2 games of this series by scores of 4-3, and then last night 9-5. They are still the only team in Major League Baseball without a home victory, and they want to change that right here, right now. Escobar pops it up right side, drifting over near the foul line is Jeff Francoeur for out number 1. Our time and temperature is brought to you by the parking spot. A cool 58 degrees. First pitch was at 1:11. And there is Francoeur, a talented right fielder. They have speed in the outfield with Francoeur in right, Jason Bourgeois in center, and Alex Gordon in left. The corners with terrific arms. Omar Vizquel, this guy, an absolutely fabulous story, Jeff, because this Tuesday he will turn 45 years of age. Wow.
He's just been an amazing player over the year, and when he turns 45 he is eligible for his Major League pension, so he'll be getting 2 checks for the rest of the year.
Now he doesn't have to take it at age 45, so he'll hang with it since he's still playing the game. And he takes low and inside, and Danny Duffy kind of twirls on the mound. I'm not sure if he liked his landing foot. Let's see if he cleans up that area. No, he gets right back up on that hill.
Danny's a guy that always does a little crossfire, pitches a little across his body, creates some deception with that cross body delivery.
The 2-1, and Vizquel, very patient, takes outside, 3 balls and 1 strike. Duffy 1-1 this year with a 2.13 earned run average in his 2 starts. He struck out 15 and 12 2/3 and comes inside, missing ball 4. One thing that impressed his skipper Ned Yost the most in his first 2 starts was his command, his ability to get ahead, and quite frankly I thought start number 2, even though he gave up the 3 runs, was better than start number 1 in Oakland.
Well, he's a guy that has learned a lot in his short time in the major leagues, just 23 starts now in the major leagues. A guy who has seemingly learned every time he goes out there, and that's what I really liked from what I saw of Danny Duffy last year.
Here is Bautista. First pitch curveball missing inside. 1 ball, no strikes. Dangerous batter who they've been able to keep quiet in the series thus far. Bautista only 1 for 8. This is a guy who hit 300 last year with big time power. 43 home runs. How would you pitch him?
Well, he's a journeyman. He's a guy who knows how to handle the bat. So he's looking for a mistake, but he really doesn't have that typical weakness that an experienced veteran professional hitter has. He won't chase a lot of balls out of the strike zone.
Barely missing outside, 2-1. Vizquel, his speed is not what it once was, but he does have over 400 stolen bases in his career, and he has the lead at first base. He keeps his body in marvelous shape and reads pitchers very well to get good jumps. Low, 3-1. Out goes Humberto Quintero trying to settle down the young lefty. Duffy came in with just 5 walks and 12 2/3.
See, we're going to take a look here at Bautista's approach and how close he stands in the batter's box. He's very close to the plate. I think what he's trying to do is take away that outside pitch. A pitcher is going to make a living away, and if that batter is able to get on top of the plate, he really takes away that outside part of the plate.
He was seeing a lot of breaking balls early. He is a guy who loves to pull the baseball, and most of his home runs in Toronto go out to left. The pitch taken low, ball 4, so a poor start by Danny Duffy. 2 on, and he has issued base on balls to the number 2 and 3 hitter. And here comes their hottest hitter in the first 2 weeks of the season, Edwin Encarnacion.
Very important for Danny Duffy here to get an out. A double play gets him out of the inning, but more importantly, get an out. You can't allow the middle of this lineup to stack it up, because even the bottom half of their lineup has the ability to do the damage.
Here's Encarnacion hitting .328 with 4 home runs. Pitch misses low and inside. He gave up the home run to Jackson. Dave Island on the third batter, Bautista, walked out to the mound, had a conversation with Danny, and Danny seemed to settle down. I asked Dave the next day, and he said, I just asked him, relax. Do not think that you've got to throw a strikeout on every single pitch. Well, he gets a fastball across there at 95 miles an hour. And the very next batter, the very next pitch, a looping line drive to the shortstop. They're able to get the double play. Duffy gets out of the frame, and he looked like a different pitcher after that.
Well, oftentimes a pitcher will have a little clue that gets him back in sync, and that's what Dave Island went out to the mound to talk to him about.
Breaking ball. 1-2. Dangerous batter. 9 of his 19 hits this year have been for extra bases. He has 4 RBIs in this series. 2 on, 1 out. Again inside with the breaking ball, 2-2. Runners in scoring position this year, he's been outstanding. Last year he hit .272 with 17 home runs and drove in 55. Vizquel at second, Bautista at first. Ground ball short. This will help. Escobar goes 1, and they will not get the double play, but they do record the second out. Encarnacion goes 6-4, reaches on the fielder's choice.
Danny makes a quality pitch here. The ball's not hit hard enough really to turn 2. Nice turn at second base. Encarnacion getting down the line, hustling.
Now Duffy to face Colby Rasmus, who hit a pair of home runs. You talked about a crossfire look. Is a crossfire by a left-hander tougher on a left-handed batter like Rasmus?
It's probably going to be a little more deceptive. In other words, it's a little more difficult for him to pick up that arm slot from a Danny Duffy.
Swings and misses at the off-speed. This is a guy you can strike out, but he has tremendous power. 3 this year. Hit a home run off a lefty, Teaford, in last night's 9-5 Blue Jay victory. How to play left side, so he has him down 0-2. How do you like to see him work him ahead in the count?
Well, you'd like to see him throw a pitch similar to that very first pitch that he threw, where he chased a pitch out of the strike zone. You know, here's a guy last night has 4 RBIs hitting the bottom part of the order. He gets moved up tonight or today with the chance to maybe drive in some more runs. So, you know, you got to be careful with this entire lineup. They're a really good fastball hitting team.
The 0-2 is taken down low. Quintero was ready to block the ball, and while the Royals almost got a play on Vizquel, seemed like he knew exactly how much time he needed to get back to the bag because his right foot got there right before Moustakas' tag.
Pretty cool character down there on third base. Been there a few times, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. At the age of 44, Omar Vizquel, one of the great infielders of all time. He's trying to get into Duffy's head, and now Danny will step off because Moustakas is so far away from third base. Vizquel is walking down the third base line, and he was a third of the way towards home plate trying to get the balk from Duffy. The 1-2. Ooh, didn't miss by much.
There he is. He's giving Danny a little hint. You know, can't take your eye off this guy. Give him a little attention down there.
The 2-2 runner going, and again it misses outside, not by much. The home plate umpire is Tim Timmons. Jeff Kellogg is at first, Eric Cooper second, Marty Foster at third.
Here's a good pitcher's pitch, a put-away pitch. Didn't offer for it. Could have gotten the call right on the black there.
Exactly. It's supposed to be knees to letters, but how many pitchers don't get that high strike?
I think if you establish strikes early in the game, you're more apt to get it from the home plate umpire.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out. A big first inning for Danny Duffy. He walks two, but gets out of trouble without a run scoring. Back Kansas City's way today, and this is the lineup he penciled in before the game. Jason Bourgeois to lead things off, then Alex Gordon, Billy Butler hits third, and then Hosmer, Betancourt, Francoeur, Moustakas, Quintero, and Escobar with a .367 average during this homestand, and had his second career 4-for-4 game. On the hill out of Los Angeles, California, Ricky Romero.
Steve, this guy is a top of the rotation starter, lefty, great stuff. An all-star last year. He's just a guy that has the ability to get you out with 3 quality pitches. He's not a one-pitch guy. Fastball, he's got a great changeup and will throw that curveball at you.
27 years old, and he faces Bourgeois, and he throws him strike one. Jason came in with just 11 at-bats and 3 hits. Romero comes inside sharply, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Ricky, former first-round draft pick, 6th overall by the Blue Jays back in 2005, out of Cal State Fullerton. Thought about biting, but did not. Wise that he didn't. It's 2-1.
Steve, Ricky Romero is a left-handed pitcher that oftentimes has more success against right-handed batters than he does left-handers. We saw a little earlier, but he's trying to figure that out this year, using the cutter a little more.
They're the numbers you're talking about. Why would he have more success against the lefties or against the right-handers?
I think the fact his changeup is so good against right-handed pitchers. That's a pitch he can really go to, and it's an out pitch, plus it's a strikeout pitch for him.
The 2-2 is hit on the ground. Laurie knows he has to make a quick toss and does so accurately. And here's our Ford around the horn Blue Jays defense.
A little different look in left field with Rajai Davis getting the start this afternoon. Here we are, Omar Vizquel, as we mentioned, 44-year-old, making a start at second base, and J.P. Arancibia behind the plate for the 3rd game in a row. No day game after night game off for him.
There is Brett Laurie, who was a catcher for the 2008 Canadian Olympic team, and now he's playing third base in the major leagues. That's a quick adjustment. Alex Gordon, the batter. Gordon with a 5-game hit streak, hitting .300. First inning yesterday, he belted 1 out. He pulls that one into the Royals dugout, scatters a few of his teammates.
Steve, one thing I've noticed about Alex over the last couple of days, the balls that they have pitched him outside with, when they're going away against Alex, he's having much more success than the pitches inside.
That ball drilled up the middle, and that's exactly what you're talking about. A pitch out over, stays with it, and gets a base hit, his 4th of the series.
Going to have another look here. See, he's able to get extended. When he's able to get extended, he's using the middle part of the field. That's his power alley. That's where he wants to drive the baseball.
What adjustments should he make to handle the inside pitch better?
Well, at some point he's going to have to make the adjustment because the really tough at bats for him have been the pitches that have been quality pitches inside, and so far he's not made that consistent adjustment.
He's at first base. The batter is Billy Butler. It's rare to see Billy go hitless in 2 straight games, but he's 0 for 6 in this series after an 8-game hit streak where he was batting .455.
Billy's such a good hitter, he doesn't have to worry about going into very many extended slumps.
Pulls this one toward short. A 6, a 4, and a 3 double play. Royals hit into 4 yesterday and their first in the first inning today. Inning jam by striking out Colby Rasmus. You like the last 2 pitches?
I really did. He had him set up here. Goes with the breaking ball. Doesn't get the call. It was a nice pitch. Here we go. That's got the finish. They're looking for that finish off the plate. Colby Rasmus not able to do anything with that pitch.
And Rasmus missed it by at least 1.5 feet. So here we go to the 2nd inning. Brett Laurie is the batter. He'll be followed by Ben Francisco and then Rajai Davis. Down low, 1 ball, 1 strike. Duffy threw 25 pitches in that first inning. He'd like to cut that in half in this frame. He wants to work deep into the game, and Laurie swings and sends it foul. Sometimes, Jeff, when a guy has so much life to his pitches, he gets a lot of foul offs, and obviously his pitch count will go up.
Yeah, and Danny's that type pitcher. He's a swing and miss type guy, and when he's on, he's going to miss a lot of bats. But right now, it just seems like he's trying to get his feel into this game.
The 1-2. Rolled it off his foot. I remember an old Royal left-hander, Danny Jackson. He had that problem early in his career.
This Danny Duffy actually reminds me a lot of Danny Jackson. He's a guy that's a full tilt guy, guys that's right at you, but at times he's effectively wild. And you can use it to your benefit, but you have to be in the strike zone at least 1 pitch to every batter to give them a chance to get themselves out.
The 1-2 is swung on and missed, and Duffy gets his 2nd strikeout as he fired a 95-mile-an-hour fastball right by the rookie.
He reaches back for a little extra here with 2 strikes. Right by you there.
Great stuff. And the Royals, stocked with talented left-handers in their organization. Mike Montgomery pitched extremely well this week. John Lamb is now pitching off the mound. He's coming back from the Tommy John surgery. And then, of course, there's 23-year-old Danny Duffy. The 0-1. Foul back. I talked with Ned Yost before the game about Danny, and he said he really likes the fact that he learns the lessons that he needs to as he's growing up. As you talked about, only his 23rd big league start.
Yeah, and he's learned from the mistakes. He's made his share of mistakes early in his career, but every pitcher does.
The 0-2 is hit to Moustakas, who has it. His throw offline, then that is his first error of the year. Taking second base is Francisco. It almost seemed like Moose had too much time over at third.
It's a ground ball. I'm not sure if footing played any part in this, but it looks like it's pretty wet out in that third base area. Throw just gets away from him. Looks like his footing was actually okay. We're getting used to seeing Mike Moustakas make those highlight reel plays. This was not one of them.
So now a Blue Jay in scoring position for Rajay Davis, the veteran out of Norwich, Connecticut, in that lineup because he bats from the right side. First pitch is lifted foul, out of play, strike one.
And now Mike Moustakas just hoping the next ball's hit right at him. He wants to get a play, get an out for Danny Duffy.
In the dirt, no advance by Francisco.
See, we saw Luis Mendoza 2 starts ago. He got a little rattled when there was an error made in that third inning, and he could not stop the bleeding. But for a pitcher, your responsibility now is to cover up that mistake that Mike Moustakas just made.
Time called. Parents, sign your kids up for Sluggers Blue Crew by U.S. Toy to be part of the fun all year long. Members receive a batting practice jersey, backpack, water bottle, ticket vouchers, front of the line access for every Sunday fun run, and much more. Membership is just $20. Join now at royals.com/Blue Crew. It's something the kids love to get involved with. Feels like you're part of the team. And now the count is 1-2 to Davis, who is a pesky hitter. Took him a while to get to the big leagues, but because of his speed, he gets on base. He is a difference maker.
He would be comparable to a Gerard Dyson for the Kansas City Royals.
Punched to first. Hosmer will take it. 2 outs. Speaking of Dyson, he got the game-winning hit in extra innings last night for Omaha. The Storm Chasers continue to surge, and they are now 12-5, I believe, in first place in the Pacific Coast League.
I know there was a move made, and Dyson goes back to Omaha to bring up Luis Coleman to have another arm in that, that battered bullpen a little bit. But he showed me a lot when he came up. He hit the ball very well. I thought there was a lot of improvement from his offensive game going back to last year.
They do have some speed in the outfield, and here is a breaking ball in for strike one to Aaron Sebia. This is a guy, you make a mistake, he can hit it a long, long way. So Duffy wants to work out of trouble here. A runner at third base with 2 out. That ball hit very well. Gordon is back, still going back at the track. Makes the catch, and Duffy gets out of second inning woes. Hosmer will lead it off when we come back. You like Danny Duffy's second inning better than his first.
Seemed like he got into a little bit of a groove in that second inning, cutting his pitch count down from 25 in the first to 14 in the second inning.
And a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in today's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Bottom of the second we go. Eric Hosmer to the batter. He hit his 4th home run at Kauffman Stadium yesterday. A 400-plus foot shot into right center field that gave the Royals a very short live 5-4 lead going to the 6th. But a home run by Colby Rasmus changed that. Blue Jays went up 6-5 and won 9-5. Perfectly placed, and that's exactly what Eric Hosmer was working on in batting practice with Kevin Seitzer, and I don't think anybody will be smiling more broadly than Kevin after that base hit by Eric.
Well, it's really good to see him do something with a pitch away, because he's been getting pounded away. Finally, now he's shortening his swing a little bit, just going the other way with it instead of trying to pull the ball, wrapping around it, and hitting the ball hard, but right at people.
Eric, so impressive in batting practice. I'm telling you what, it was like 8 straight line drives he struck right over the shortstop's head in BP this morning. That is the potential that he shows. Now Betancourt, the batter.
Steve, talking about batting practice today, the Blue Jays did not hit. The Royals had an optional batting practice, and I think I counted about 15 guys out taking swings. So they were out there getting their swings in, even though it was optional.
Romero very dangerous with a runner at first base and nobody out. Hosmer with the lead. Betancourt swings and pulls it foul. And the reason he's dangerous, since 2009, he leads the major leagues in double plays induced. 87 now, as he was able to get a 6-4-3 double play with the Royals in the first. He sinks it, changes speeds. Betancourt takes low and in, 1-2.
I was speaking with Pat Tabler, the Toronto Blue Jays broadcaster, about Romero, and he said he's really done a nice job in executing his cutter more effectively this year. So that's one pitch that he's using more frequently and much more effectively.
There's Pat Tabler, former Royal as well, teammate of Jeff's. And again, Betancourt pulls that pitch foul. Working with Buck Martinez, who also was a Royals catcher years ago. Buck has gone from a color analyst to becoming a baseball manager to now doing play-by-play.
He has done about everything. In fact, he told me today he actually pitched in a Royals game.
You're kidding. I did not know that. Well, there's Jeff Montgomery on the left and Pat Tabler on the right. That's when it was the Royals against the Blue Jays. Hosmer is going. Ground ball struck to third. No play there. And a good call by Ned Yost to take away that double play by sending the runner. So now the Royals do have a man in scoring position. It's almost like a sacrifice.
Yeah, with Ricky Romero, a guy who induces several ground balls, as you mentioned, leads in double plays induce. Start the runners. Stay out of that double play. Give your guys a chance to drive some runs in here.
Eric had such a good jump that I think he would have stolen the base, even had Betancourt swung and missed the pitch. So now Eric in scoring position with one out, and the batter is Jeff Francoeur. He has had a tough homestand, batting just .156, but he rocks that one to left field and deep. Davis going back. The wind holds it up, so Hosmer has to retreat quickly to second base, and he gets back safely. Boy, when that got up there, I thought it was off the wall, but there is a swift breeze coming from the northwest at about 15 miles an hour, and that ball just died at the track. It twisted Davis around, and here's the shot.
Frenchie's ball here, similar to Aaron Sebia's ball the last inning that ended the inning, hit well to left, but that wind is keeping it in the ballpark.
So now we go to Mike Moustakas. Outside, ball one. Moose with a good stand against these Blue Jays. He has the one hit. That's a home run. But more impressively, I think, he has 3 walks in the 2 games. One and one. Romero beat Tampa Bay in his last start 7-3, allowing 3 runs in 6 innings. He gave up 8 hits and 3 walks, but was able to work out of jams because he kept the ball down and had Tampa Bay hitting into double plays. One and two.
One thing that a veteran pitcher like a Romero has the ability to do is he can kind of slow things down. He gets in a little bit of a jam. He kind of steps back and he lets the game slow down a little bit, and then it gives him a chance of, one, if he needs to get a big pitch for a strikeout, he has the stuff and the ability to do it, and 2, induce that double play ball, get yourself out of an inning.
He was a very cool customer at Cal State Fullerton, an All-American there. Went to Garfield High School and Roosevelt High School in East LA, a tough area. That ball's in the dirt, blocked nicely by Arancibia. He was named LA City Section Player of the Year, but more importantly, he delighted his parents with a 3.8 GPA. So a star on the field and in the classroom.
And I'm sure his parents really appreciate him. He also surprised them with a new home. He bought them a home. That was one of his goals in his career, was to be able to purchase a home for his parents. So I'm sure they're happy with that as well.
Moustakis swings and misses. The ball was dropped by Arancibia, but he still has time to throw him out. So a strikeout of Moustakis. We head to the 3rd looking for our first run. Competing in game 3 of this series and get downloads up to 50 megabits per second with Time Warner Cable Ultimate Internet. Danny Duffy ready for his 3rd inning of work. He threw 25 pitches in the first, only needed 14 to get out of the second. He will face the top of the order again, Escobar, Vizquel, and Bautista. And Escobar takes a soft one for strike 1.
As you can see there, Danny Duffy up to 97 miles an hour today on his fastball. He's winning that match so far.
That's what you love to see, that range. If you can go from curveball that we just saw, that's in the mid-70s up to the mid-90s.
It's called adding and subtracting. Sometimes you take a little off your fastball. Sometimes you use an off-speed pitch to get there. But changing the velocity is very important to be effective as a pitcher.
The 1-1 pitch. Swung on and missed by Escobar, and the count moves Duffy's way 1-2.
Makes him go fishing. Nice pitch down the strike zone.
Seems like his changeup almost has a little screwball effect. It has some late tail to it, as well as dropping down the 1-2 pitch. Hit back up the middle, but played perfectly by Betancourt. 1 out. Come out on Thursday, fans, May 3rd, as we celebrate Alex Gordon's 2011 Rawlings Gold Glove Award. The first 10,000 fans receive a replica Gold Glove trophy presented by Hy-Vee before the Royals take on the Yankees. Go to Royals.com for tickets. There's Alex, who had a fantastic season last year. He led all outfielders in assists with 20, moving from third base to left field. You've got to credit a guy like Doug Sisson for working with him, and his work habits are second to none. Vizquel swings and misses badly at that breaking ball thrown by.
Steve, one thing, you talk to other players and other coaches that come in to Kansas City, and they see Doug Sisson out early every day working on one aspect of the game, and that's just something that's different in Major League Baseball, but these players have bought into his program.
He had 6 of the Royals yesterday, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm sorry, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, because it was a 6 o'clock start, and they were going through base running, first to third, secondary leads. Those little things add up to big victories. Here is the 1-2 pitch. It is taken inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, the Royals outside the Cleveland series have not played that badly this week. Here's the 2-2, and it is popped up. Foul territory. Battling the wind, and that one's going to get back into the seats. They'll try it again at 2-2.
That one was a tricky one, because oftentimes the ball's going to blow back. If it's popped straight up, it's going to go blow back to the catcher. Oftentimes, Quintero would have a chance to make a play on this ball, but with the wind blowing in from left today, no chance.
15 to 20 miles an hour. Oh, man, they are giving the veteran the benefit of the doubt. That looked like it may have been a strike, instead called a ball, and after Duffy was ahead 1-2, the count is full to Vizquel. Punches it foul. And this is a guy I really think you have to be aggressive with. And I hate to use the term because of his age, but he doesn't have the bat speed. I mean, he has admitted that.
He's a guy that I hated to pitch against, because he could handle the bat so well. He wasn't going to hurt you much with a home run, but he was a guy that could handle the bat. He could handle the pitch in. He could handle the pitch away.
And now he's making Duffy work, who's already thrown 51 pitches, and quite a few of them to Vizquel in their first 2 at bats.
I remember having Kenny Lofton and Omar Vizquel at the top of that Indians lineup, and they would make you throw a lot of pitches. If you got to them at any point in the game, they're going to make you throw a lot of pitches. And
Robbie Alomar hitting third, the 3-2. He swings and misses, and how about that Duffy on a 3-2 count? It looked like Vizquel was looking fastball, and he took a lot off and strikes him out.
This is an 84-mile-an-hour changeup, I believe, and just way out in front. Definitely looking for the fastball. Nice job of pitching by Danny Duffy.
There's a breaking ball for strike 1 to Bautista. The one thing that impressed me about you, Jeff, you were one of those rare closers that had 4 pitches, but everything came out of the same arm slot. Is that something that you worked on?
Well, it's important for a pitcher to have the consistent arm slot and the consistent arm speed, because a hitter reads that arm speed. They're going to pick up the slot, but they're also reading the speed. Danny Duffy in that changeup to Omar Vizquel, perfect arm speed, just like his 97 fastball, but it's an 84 changeup.
The 1-1 pitch. A little bit low, 2 balls and 1 strike. So do you see that from Danny, everything coming out of the same spot?
You do, and one thing that you see right there, that was a situation with Vizquel where he pitched backwards. That was a fastball count, but he throws a breaking ball.
2-1. He's not missing by much. 3 balls and 1 strike to Bautista, who walked his first time up. Danny has walked a couple, has not allowed a hit. That is ball 4, so that's the 3rd walk of the game. Now he'll face Encarnacion.
Here you see Dave Island, the Royals pitching coach, and he's a technician as far as mechanics are concerned. And I know from going back to spring training, I talked with him, and he was set on learning what these guys are all about before really making any tweaks or adjustment, which you would expect from a new pitching coach, but he's really good at mechanics. So if there's anything that really gets out of whack with the Danny Duffy or any of these guys on the staff, he can identify that and correct it very quickly.
Rock to center field. Again, that wind. And Bourgeois waits for it to come down with a little help from Mother Nature. Nothing, ball game. To the bottom of the 3rd we go.
No score between the Blue Jays and Royals. Joel Goldberg at Kauffman Stadium. I talked with first base coach Doug Sisson this morning about the streak, and he said, we're not on a streak. You can't carry the burden of the last 9 games or even last night into today. It's Sunday morning, and we have a game to play. He said, play simple baseball. Get them on, get them in, get them over, get them in, run the bases well, play good defense. He said, things are going to happen that you just can't control. It's how you react. And then he said this, guys, and this was pretty interesting. I said, what about human nature? And he said, we have to be stronger than human nature. Let's put this in perspective. There are people whose homes are being foreclosed upon. There are Navy SEALs out there in the water and out there. This is a baseball game. Go have fun. Guys?
I want to go to his next motivational speech.
Sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
He is excellent. And, he always preaches fundamentals. And when you think of the word, there are 2 extra words in fundamental. One is fun, and the other is mental, and that's all about baseball.
And really, that's what these Royals are looking to do, is come out and have some fun, and when you have fun, you'll win some baseball games.
Quintero slices that one the other way, and if the wind is blowing from the south, that might be a double.
There's that luck that we've been hurting with right now.
Doug, I think, forgot his helmet. He had just his hat on, and there's a rule now that you've got to have a helmet on. There is Doug. He does such a great job with the outfielders, with base running, coaching first base, and motivational speaking. Quintero calls time and steps out 1-2, but that mental side of the game. I remember you came up at the age of 25, and you were a marginal prospect with the Cincinnati Reds. Swing and a miss, and Romero gets his 2nd strikeout. Let's check out our sprint question. You call it. Enter tonight. Text 432-432 and enter keyword Royals. Who wins the American League East in 2012? You see who's up there, and the Blue Jays are E.
I kind of go with the C, D, or E choices. I'll narrow that down as we move forward, but I don't know if the Orioles have the staying power to be in that thing, and the Red Sox with Bobby Valentine, it seems like they have not responded to him at all.
Well, here is Alcides Escobar. Back-to-back strikeouts by Romero, and Alcides with a 4-hit game yesterday. His second 4-hit game in his career, and he sends that one to center field. This will be the second out. I wanted to ask you, Jeff, we were just talking about you came up 25 years old. You were a marginal prospect with the Cincinnati Reds. Get traded to Kansas City for Van Snyder. How did you go from a marginal prospect to a guy who set the Royals record in saves?
I think it was just opportunity more than anything. I came here and the Royals said, we like your numbers as a relief pitcher. We're going to make you a relief pitcher. We're going to send you to the minor leagues. I was there very briefly, came back up, and just given an opportunity to do my thing.
How about that mental side? Because I read a little book of your book, The Fundamentals of Pitching, and you talk so much about the right now.
Yeah, and it's very important to focus on what you're doing with this pitch, with this out, with this inning, and then the game in general. But you have to really focus on this pitch.
And I would imagine the only way you can get through that is experience.
It is. It helps with experience and with a young team. We saw a young Royals bullpen last year. They came in and they were very focused on each pitch. It seems to me this year they've lost a little focus at times. Tim Collins has been very consistent for them, but every pitcher in that bullpen has had one opportunity where he has not been as good as he was last year.
And unfortunately, two big members of that pen on the disabled list, Joakim Soria and Greg Holland, and Blake Wood, who was the setup man at the beginning of last year. Well, Bourgeois works the walk, and we might have some fun now because this guy likes to run.
And he does not wait long. If he's going to go, he normally goes very quickly.
He had 31 steals for the Houston Astros last year in only 94 games. You see in his career a total of 46. Made it late in life into the big leagues. Alex Gordon now the batter, the guy who can run at first base. They pitch out, and Bourgeois was not going. Jason, I mean, is built like a halfback. And I said, did you play football? Because he comes from the state of Texas and Houston, which is a big football community. And he said, I played, pee-wee football, but he said, I'm really a baseball guy.
Yeah, he looks like an athlete, that's for sure. He's built for speed.
Played shortstop growing up, and actually infield his first 3-4 years in the minor leagues, and then got moved to the outfield. Going to first base.
Blue Jays advanced scouts have obviously got a good report on Jason Bourgeois, knowing that if he's going to go, he's probably going to go on one of these first few pitches. So far, only one pitch to the plate and step off and throw over.
Pitch to Gordon is taken with Bourgeois going. He had such a good jump. Arancibia had no chance, so he just held onto the baseball, and that's the first steal of the year for Jason.
Really good to see. Ned Yost indicated he's going to be aggressive, and here we see an example of that. Not going to waste any time. Let's get a guy in scoring position with 2 outs.
Now a Gordon single could give the Royals a 1-0 lead. Alex seeing the ball very well recently, breaking out of that slump, and he sends this one towards left field, but it will be pushed into the seats, and the count goes to 1-2. Remember, Gordon opened with an 0-for-18 after having a marvelous spring training. And right at the very end of spring training, he signed a contract, a 4-year deal +1. And he said many times, it's a 5-year deal. This is where I want to stay. I love Kansas City. Midwest kid from Lincoln, Nebraska. The 1-2. A little high.
Steve, a lot of times the guy signs a long-term deal, and oftentimes he tries to do too much. He tries to press, and maybe we've seen that a little bit with Alex. I don't know. It's impossible to get inside someone's head and figure out what's going on, but he did not come out of spring training nearly with the consistently, as far as having consistent at bats as he had down there.
Waves at that offering and strikes out. So Romero gets 2 strikeouts in the inning, now has 3 for the game. Families, a 0-0 ball game. Here are our Toyota League leaders on highest strikeouts per 9 innings by American League lefties, and Duffy right there with a great one, CC Sabathia.
There's CC. He's been there for a long time. Duffy right there with him.
Danny has 3 strikeouts in the first 3 innings. 1 in each frame. He will face Rasmus, Laurie, and Francisco in this 4th. Danny, who's from California, Lompoc, which is midway between San Francisco and Los Angeles, used to the warm weather. But I've noticed he's the only one on the infield with no sleeves. It's a cool Sunday afternoon. Pitchers, they usually sweat a little more than those infielders because they are working on every single pitch.
For a relief pitcher, it's difficult to go out in this type of weather without sleeves. Some guys still do, but for a starting pitcher, you're going to stay hot out there.
The 2-1. Rasmus tried to check his swing. It's like he tipped it foul. It's 2-2. Here's Joel. The count is 2-2. And Danny's pitch is swung on and missed. He got Colby Rasmus for the 2nd time. That's 4 strikeouts for the young left-hander.
Is that not working?
Joel, I believe it's working now. Talk to us, brother.
Well, Steve, I wanted to talk about Danny, and you were saying the short sleeves. That's pretty unusual for a pitcher in cold weather, but we saw him pitch without the sleeves in Oakland, too, and 3 of his career wins are in Oakland, where it does get chilly at night. He said he's used to that in Lompoc near Santa Barbara. The weather could be like that from time to time, but I got to think it's just a mindset because nobody else seems to like it.
Well, you'd see that from a football player, but Danny Duffy, a great competitor. This was a young man who was 5 feet 4 inches tall as a freshman in high school. He said with a 70-mile-an-hour fastball, and he grew 10 inches the next 3.5 years. His dad was his high school coach, and he became a star as a senior, absolute star. Struck out 127 batters in just 58 2/3 innings as a senior. And as you know, California produces about as good a baseball talent as there is, and that's why he was the Royals' 3rd-round pick in 2007 out of Rio High School in Lompoc. Breaking ball struck foul. Fortunately, he has thrown a lot of pitches. Just 1 out in the 4th inning, and his pitch count is already up to 66. And I think it's mainly because they're not squaring the ball up and fouling it back to the screen or off to the left and right. Laurie struck out swinging his first time. Down in the count here. Terrific pitch by Danny as he just missed the outside corner at the knees.
Talk about those California baseball players, and you've got Hosmer and Moustakas and Duffy all on the infield from California. I think that's one reason they can make it up at such a young age. They see such good baseball at the amateur level growing up.
I asked him when he really believed he could do it. He goes, you know, it's interesting, and we had this conversation at the Big A in Anaheim. He said, I was a sophomore in high school, and I came down to watch a game at Angel Stadium, and I'm going, you know what? This looks so cool. I want to do this. Fly ball struck to center field. Bourgeois there. And there is 2 out.
Sometimes you associate California with heat, with sunshine. This is out in Oakland earlier. Cool night. Danny Duffy, and without the long sleeves there, just going with the short uniform sleeves. Nice to see that.
2 outs. Ooh, did he catch him? It almost hit Ben Francisco, who was able to get out of the way of that heater.
And I did loop Eric Hosmer into that California connection. He's actually a Florida boy, but similar deal. A lot of good baseball in Florida.
And it's different for a guy like Alex Gordon, who may have only played 30 games in a high school season or during the summer. For a guy like Duffy or for Hosmer, they're playing well over 100.
Right. One player of interest here in Kansas City, last year's first-round draft choice, Bubba Starling. Playing baseball in the Midwest, you're not going to get a lot of games, so probably a longer process as far as getting to the big leagues.
Yeah. And Dayton Moore said they would be very patient with Bubba Starling. Here's the pitch on his hands, pumped foul. It's now 2 balls and 2 strikes. Because Starling, a fabulous football, basketball, baseball star, full ride to Nebraska, but they started him out in rookie ball, and I thought that was smart. I mean, down in Arizona, where he could get his experience, his feet wet, and find success. The 2-2 is again fouled off. Pitch count over 70 now in this through 4 innings, almost 4 innings.
I spoke with Bubba right at the end of spring training camp in Arizona, and he seemed to be a little disappointed that he was not going to break north with one of the A-ball clubs, but he certainly understands the reasoning and just being slow and beating the door down on every level. That's what these guys have done. They make him play at every level, and it's proven successful.
It's like Obi-Wan Kenobi said, patience, young Jedi warrior.
Absolutely.
Danny Duffy has to be patient with his success after a rookie season where he won 4 games, lost 8 with a 5.64 ERA, but there were signs of brilliance. There's a breaking ball that barely misses, once again not getting the call, and you could see that Quintero was trying to give it for him the way he was freezing his glove after he caught it.
Didn't look like a bad pitch. We're going to see it on Fox Tracks. Actually finished outside, across the plate outside, didn't get that one.
And that ball stroked up the middle for the first base hit of the game for Toronto. Duffy has not been able to get yet a 1-2-3 inning. Now he will deal with Rajay Davis. I've been really impressed with Toronto's plate discipline in this series.
Yeah, they are very patient. They're a team that they're known as a good fastball hitting team. They come out, you throw fastballs, they're going to cover it. But these Royals pitchers have taken the approach, we got to mix things up, and the Blue Jays have not been over anxious in their approach to the Royals pitching staff.
You can tell they're a veteran team. Runner goes, Danny's got him picked off. Hosmer's throw is in time. Good job by Danny Duffy as he catches Ben Francisco trying to steal. Teach me how to Duffy. Coming soon to Brookside. Visit us online at PaneraKansas.com and by AT&T, the world's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. Billy Butler will lead things off for the Royals, then Eric Hosmer, then Yuniesky Betancourt. Pretty good trio of hitters going up against one of the better left-handers in the game last year, Ricky Romero, who starts his 4th inning of work. His pitch efficiency has been much better than the young Duffy. something that Romero has learned through his years. That's low and in. 1 ball and 1 strike.
And that just the 41st pitch for Romero versus 77 for Danny Duffy. So you're right, he's been much more efficient. I thought that was one of Danny's keys today, was to be pitch efficient.
Fouled off, 1 and 2. Butler hit into his 6-4-3 double play. He is now 0 for 7 in this series. And the Royals trying to fight their way through this slump. They have lost 9 in a row. Still the only team in Major League Baseball without a home victory. They have never started a season this poorly at home. The 1-2 pitch, and Butler takes it in the dirt. And it was interesting. I was talking to my mom this morning on the phone in the drive-in, and she was saying, "What's wrong with the boys? Why are they playing so poorly?" And I said, "Mom, they're a young team. And anytime anyone says they're the youngest team in baseball, you know they have to go through mistakes." My mom was a school teacher at Bishop Miege High School. There's a ground ball struck to third. Laurie has it. And there's 1 out. And I said, "You were a school teacher. Now there's a difference in baseball and school. In school, you get the lesson first and then you take the test. In baseball, you get the test first and then you learn the lesson."
And certainly at the major league level, that is the case. And it doesn't matter how much you have seasoning in the minor leagues. There's still a finishing development that occurs. We saw a lot of that last year with these guys, but we're going to continue to see that, throughout this season. And as we see more guys coming in from the minor leagues, even more.
I know there are fans out there saying no more excuses. They're not excuses. That's simply reality. The reality is Hosmer's 22, Moustakas 23, Duffy's 23, and I can go on and on.
Yeah, and that's, again, there are some growing pains, but when it all comes together, they have a nucleus of players that will likely stay together for a number of years.
The 0-1 to Hosmer is taken. 1 ball, 1 strike. Erica's first time up. Lined a single to left field. Romero has given up 2 hits in this game. Again outside as they continue to work Eric away.
Yeah, and he's really, we talked earlier about Alex Gordon, everyone being able to get Alex out inside right now, and everyone's being able to get Eric out away. Now, he did a nice job in his earlier at bat going with the pitch away, not trying to pull the ball, just taking what the pitcher has given him. And that's a real key for him to get things on track. And then they will have to start coming in. When they come in, he can take advantage of the mistakes they try to make inside. Here we see the Fox tracks, really everything, 1 pitch in the middle part, but almost everything away.
I have no idea how that ball found Romero's glove. He was bending backward like he was doing the limbo, threw up his hand, and the ball went right into the glove.
Good-sized guy on the hill, lefty, ground ball. Sometimes that's self-defense. He did a nice job there. He had his eyeball on that one. A little bit of an effect.
2 outs. Betancourt waves at the first pitch, strike 1. Unieski grounded out to third base his first time up. Romero has now thrown 50 pitches, 31 in the zone, 19 have missed. Low.
A lot of people surprised to see Unieski with the opportunity to hit leadoff. Now he's in the 5th slot today, so he's been really all over the batting order this early season.
But he's been swinging a hot bat. As a matter of fact, Ned Yost said that he and Billy Butler have been swinging the most consistently the entire season, and they just need to have more than 2 guys in a groove. The 1-2 is in the dirt, taken by Unieski. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Royals have also been struggling in the clutch. They're just 8 for 40 with men in scoring position in this series.
And in contrast, Steve, the Blue Jays lead the majors with a .345 batting average with runners in scoring position. So that's the difference in the records as you look at it today.
And I should say, since the start of Detroit, they're 8 for 40 with men in scoring position. Today they are 0 for 1. In the air, left side. Wind pushing it back towards the infield. Rasmus takes care of Betancourt and the Royals. To the 5th we go. Just one hit. Here's our AT&T trivia question, and it's all about the bases loaded. Since 1969, who has the best career batting average with the bases loaded in the major leagues? So it's since 69. When I first took a look at that question, I was thinking all time, and I was thinking about guys like Hank Greenberg or Lou Gehrig, who had 23 grand slams. But it's since 69, so it's kind of our era.
Narrows it down a little bit. It should be a little easier for us to get.
Davis will lead things off for Toronto. He grounded out to Hosmer his first time up. Davis, Arancibia, and Escobar. Hitters 8, 9, and 1. It's that first pitch.
First pitch was a little tricky. Got him on the bat. At first I was afraid that maybe that ball got a piece of Rajai Davis and going to give him a chance to go to first base, but it hit the top head of the bat.
Way outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Davis first found his big league success as a member of the Oakland Athletics. Now he swings and again sends it foul. It's 1-2.
Steve, on that AT&T trivia, I always try to think about who's in the house. Who's in the house as some clues.
Like, is it a Blue Jay? Is it a former Blue Jay? Is it a Royal, a former Royal? Duffy's 1-2 is a breaking ball high. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Duffy really needs a quick and easy inning. He has thrown 81 pitches and just starting the 5th inning. That ball is roped to left field, and that will get all the way to the wall, and Davis with his speed might make it to third. He's stopping at second base, and it's a wise thing he did. Ooh. Had Betancourt turned and fired to second base, he may have gotten him as Hosmer was trailing the play and would have taken the throw at second.
That would have actually been a nice play had he known, but you always have to throw ahead of the runner. If you throw behind the runner, it gives him a chance to advance 1 additional base. And with nobody out, you sure don't want to give him the opportunity to get to third base.
So a leadoff double by Davis. Royals must buckle down here because Romero has been awfully tough on the other side. J.P. Arancibia, the batter. Man out of Miami, Florida, who broke all of Alex Rodriguez's home run records in high school at Westminster Christian. Tremendous power, but he's also a guy you can strike out. Ball one. And he misses upstairs with the curveball. 2 balls and no strikes. Arancibia takes a peek down at his third base coach, Brian Butterfield.
Steve, he's at the bottom of the lineup, and he's hitting 3 straight games with multi-hit games in those 3 games. 6 for 11 after starting 1 for 20 before that.
Davis trying to get in Duffy's mind. Here's the pitch, and it is missing. 3 balls and no strikes. Not the way that Danny wanted to start this 5th inning of a 0-0 ball game. Top of the order is next with Escobar, Vizquel, and Bautista. There's a strike, 3-1, and Arancibia was taken all the way. Three and two.
Be nice to see him come all the way back against Arancibia. He's been pitching in some high stress situation. Going back to his start against Justin Verlander, and his last start he pitched so well against him. He's now battling Ricky Romero, another tough lefty on the mound. So he's in a lot of high stress situations. And now with a base open, you know you're probably not going to score a lot of runs today. So you got to be very careful not to give up that first run and the lead.
Davis trying to get in the young left-hander's mind. Walked him. So 2 on with nobody out in the 5th inning. 4th walk by Duffy. Out comes Dave Island for a visit as Danny grabs the rosin bag and kind of slams it down, and Dave wants to make sure, like you talked about, stay in the present, focus, and execute the right now.
Yeah, in this situation, they're going to be trying to get a runner over to third, but he may roll into one. Little double play. Take 2 right here for the price of 1.
Are you thinking Escobar won't be bunting, that he might be swinging away?
Well, that's probably what they're going to talk about right here. Who's got the third base line? Are we going to try to get an out at third, or are we just going to make sure we get an out? Because if you want to make sure you get an out, then Mike Moustakas will charge in and take that bunt if he goes down the third base line.
Two on, nobody out. Veteran Escobar, the batter. 29-year-old right-handed swinger from Cuba. And Moustakas in at third base. Hosmer in at first base. The runner goes. Davis, the throw to third, knocked down by Moustakas because Davis had that stolen with Moose in. Now there's runners on the corners with nobody out.
That play caught the Royals completely off guard here. I think they're maybe you see Mike Moustakas in a few steps thinking bunt. Rajai Davis, smart move there. Danny Duffy really didn't pay attention to him. Gave him an opportunity to steal third base.
Big swing and a miss by Escobar. 1 ball, 1 strike. Arancibia is not a threat to go. He doesn't run that well, so they'll worry about the man at the plate. And the Royals infield is set up to give up a run to get a double play. Fought it off to right field, a base hit. This will score Rajai Davis to make it a 1-0 game. A seeing eye base hit to right field. Towards Davis.
So he's trying to come inside on his hands a little bit. Just fights it off. Escobar goes the other way with it. Didn't hit it firm, but just enough to get it through. Now we got the same situation with Omar Vizquel up, nobody out, first and second. Very good opportunity for them to put down a bunt and advance both runners.
Ball one. And Vizquel, as good a bunter as there is. You have Bautista waiting on deck, then Encarnacion. Duffy throws a strike on the outside corner. 1-1. Toronto really making the young left-hander work, as the Royals have Lewis Coleman warming in the bullpen. Bunted foul, 1-2. Now if he bunts it foul, it will be a strikeout. Moustakas will back up a bit at third. Hosmer, let's see where he defends. Runners on first and second.
Danny's got himself backed into a corner now, but he's got 2 strikes on Vizquel. He struck him out on the 3rd inning with a nice off-speed pitch.
Hosmer will play behind the runner, giving him more range at first. And the pitch is slugged down the left side, foul. Well, he got out in front of that breaking ball, so maybe he earned himself a heater.
Yeah, I think right now Danny Duffy's got to go for the punch out. Big situation, got a big hitter on deck. You want to do everything you can to leave these runners right where they are.
He did strike him out on a curveball in his last at bat. The 1-2 pitch. Ooh. Tested him upstairs, and the first base umpire Jeff Kellogg says he did not go.
And Danny, with nobody out in this inning, he's already at 96 pitches on the game. He's got some work to do to get out of this inning on his own.
We're in the 5th. Toronto has scored a run, a double, a walk, and a single. Again fought off the right side by Omar Vizquel.
That's exactly why I hated pitching to a guy like Omar Vizquel. He had the ability to just flip those quality pitches into the seats and prolong the at bat. He makes you throw a lot of pitches.
To left field. Gordon backs up. The wind will keep it where Alex can reach it. That's one huge out. Now perhaps if he can get that double play, he'll have a best case scenario, giving up just 1 run in this 5th inning, starting in dire situations. But it is Bautista, and Bautista has walked twice in this game.
Even though that was not a strikeout, he gets the same effect as a strikeout, leaves the runners at first and second base.
And Danny's not like Ricky Romero. He will not get as many ground ball outs as Ricky. Wow, that's a rip.
But there was a pitch up in the strike zone. We're lucky that was fouled straight back.
Bautista is one guy who can hit it through the teeth of any strong wind that's coming in from left field. And it's picked up 15, 20 miles an hour, maybe 25. Going left towards right. Breaking ball misses a bit high. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Quintero is going to go out and, again, just tell him to quality pitch, execute a quality pitch here. You have a chance to get out of this inning.
Danny right now at 100 pitches, and Coleman is ready in the bullpen.
Berto Quintero, good catcher to have behind the plate with the younger Danny Duffy. He's got the experience. Brian Pena, a very energetic guy, but here we've got an experienced receiver behind the dish.
The 1-1 is swung on and lined off the glove of Escobar into center field. This will load the bases. They're bringing it home, and Hosmer's throw is safe. He touched the plate.
Here you got to credit third base coach Brian Butterfield for being heads up. He sees the play. The throw comes back in, doesn't hit the cutoff man up front. Allows Aaron Seavey a chance to go all the way.
Toronto has taken a 2-0 lead. They will walk Encarnacion to set up the double play. Then you'll have Colby Rasmus coming up, and he has struck out twice. And wow, Duffy almost threw that one over Quintero's head. Escobar now at third base. Bautista is at second base in a 2-0 ball game. As
looks like Danny Duffy wants a pitch to him. He's looking in the dugout. He's not sure.
You know what? I just think it's one of those situations where if he doesn't feel confident, they want him to continue to go with the intentional walk, and he is lobbing it to Quintero.
For some reason, it seems like that is a very difficult thing for some pitchers to do, is to throw that easy pitch to the catcher on an intentional walk.
You know, it's amazing how you can pick up a bunt, twirl, and fire a strike to first base, but it's so difficult to lob one to the catcher.
It is, and I'm not so
walk.
sure that maybe Danny Duffy was going to see if maybe Eric Hosmer wasn't going to be able to go and back up the plate on the intentional walk.
The bases are loaded. And Colby Rasmus is the batter who has struck out twice. This probably will be the last batter that Danny will face. Brett Laurie, right-handed hitter, waiting on deck. Strike one. How about that? He came right back after lobbing 4 wide ones and not looking confident at all. And then he deals a perfect pitch to Colby Rasmus for strike one.
And then keep in mind, Rasmus batting at number 8 slot last night, moving him up in the order for a chance to maybe drive in some runs. Here he is with the table set.
Strike two.
Even though you do not have a base open here, you cannot really fool around and give him too much to handle.
A ball and 2 strikes on a cold, windy Midwest spring afternoon. It's a beautiful evening last night. Cooled off, temperatures in the high 50s right now. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. He got him. Big strikeout for Danny Duffy. Ned Yost now taking him out. He's leaving the kid out there. He has thrown 109 pitches. It will be a lefty versus righty matchup. Laurie is 0 for 2 with a strikeout. This is another teaching situation. How do you fight through it? And it's not the total number of pitches, it's the stress pitches you were talking about, how he has pitched in a stressful situation in every single inning of this game.
You hate to fall behind 2-0 with nobody, no base to put a runner on. So Laurie now can really kind of focus on a certain pitch and a certain location. This is a dangerous situation for a pitcher to be in.
Two and one. Two young stars emerging in this game, dueling right here at Kauffman Stadium. 23-year-old Danny Duffy, 22-year-old Brett Laurie. Bases are loaded, 2 out. Ground ball, base hit through the hole right side. This will score 1. Francour's throw, not in time. It's 4-0. Toronto simply has not missed their pitch in this series. When the Royals have made mistakes, they have paid for it every single time.
We mentioned earlier they're hitting in a clutch. They're still coming into today's game leading Major League Baseball at a .345 clip with runners in scoring position. So this is nothing new for the Blue Jays.
It is our Chevy call to the pen. Danny Duffy's afternoon is over. Lewis Coleman will try and throw a little water on the fire. They have scored 4 times in this inning after Duffy took a shutout into the 5th. But here is our Jeep replay.
Well, you look at the breakdown on the pitches, and Bautista here gets a nice pitch, middle part of the plate, gets a chance to put good wood on it. Doesn't get an out here. Now here we see against Rasmus, he throws quality pitches, breaking balls off the plate, finishing away off the plate. That was real key at bat. Gets to 2 outs. But now a ball up in the strike zone allows the hitter. He does have to work for the hitter when you get the ball up, and took advantage of it right there with Laurie.
Out of the pen, Lewis Coleman, the 6'4" right-hander from Greenwood, Mississippi. Deals with a left-handed batter. As they brought Adam Lind in to be the designated hitter for Ben Francisco. So a very difficult test here for Coleman. As Lind has been outstanding to start this year, and he is even more difficult against right-handed pitching. But Coleman has him down 0-2.
Lewis Coleman, a reliever who is really not necessarily a right-handed specialist, but he's a guy that has much more effectiveness against the right-handed batters. That's why you see Farrell bringing in Lynn to pinch hit against him.
That'll get out of play. No balls and 2 strikes. Final game of this series is tomorrow. Bruce Chen goes for Kansas City against Brandon Morrow. Jays and Royals scoreless until this frame, and there have been a lot of big innings by Toronto against Kansas City. A lot of big innings by Detroit against Kansas City. One bad frame, and this has been it in the 5th, with 4 runs scored so far, and now outside is the pitch, and it's a 1-2 count.
Still with the runner in scoring position here, important for Lewis Coleman to retire Adam Lynn to give his team a chance to start fighting back.
Hit a mile foul as he got that off-speed pitch way inside, and it was only a 69-mile-an-hour breaking ball that Lynn got way out in front on. Let's see if that set up the pitch away.
Well, last season, Lewis Coleman did a nice job against lefties and righties. He wasn't just that specialist, but I think what they're really looking for is for him to get the right-handers out.
Coleman has it, goes to first, inning is over. But 4 runs come across for the Blue Jays in the 5th.
Scored yet. There is a new power source here at Kauffman Stadium. The Royals, in partnership with Kansas City Power and Light, and during the offseason they installed 120 solar panels, 60 behind me, 60 to the other side of the Crown Vision board. They do face south, guys, but no glare at all to the hitters, and it produces enough energy to power 4 residential homes a year, providing some of the energy here. And there's an educational purpose as well, because there's a kiosk with some information for the kids. Here's a good fact: providing enough energy to cook more than 3 million hot dogs.
That is awesome.
Like that?
Absolutely, Joe, because I am so proud that you would think it would come out of New York or San Francisco or Los Angeles, but the first big league ballpark with solar panels right here in the Midwest in good old Kansas City.
Hey, Fizz, I know another way we can get some energy. Wind turbines.
Certainly on a day like this one. But solar, I believe, is the future. And I'm going to get off my soapbox now.
I'd love to see the sun come out and provide some solar power for this Royals offense.
Exactly. Maybe they can put it on their helmets. The 1-2 pitch inside to Jeff Francoeur. Jeff got a lot on the last one. His first at bat, and drove Rajai Davis to the warning track, but the wind pushed it down. First I thought it might be over his head for a double, and Jeff bangs one into left field for a base hit. Good start for the Royals here in inning number 5. Leadoff man is on. That was the good start for Toronto in their half of the 5th inning when Davis doubled. Now Moustakas the batter. Romero has allowed the Royals just 3 hits. This pitch catches the outside corner for strike 1. Ricky last year had his best season with 15 wins. That was a career high, a career low ERA, 2.92. Popped up, but that should be blown out of play because of the wind and will.
We saw the Royals score 4 runs in the 5th inning last night against Drew Hutchinson, making his major league debut. Maybe they can use that inning tonight to rebound and get some get some runs in the 5th inning tonight. I mean today, because Blue Jays, that big inning, like you mentioned earlier, 4 in the top of the 5th. You got to get some real quick.
Just keep on chipping away, chipping away. Francoeur goes and Moustakas swings, popping it up. Jeff got to hustle to get back, and the ball's going to drop. He read it much better than I did. Jeff wasn't sure they were going to catch. He's going, should I go back? Should I go? He got caught halfway, and I think he did the right thing by looking at Eddie Rodriguez, and Eddie just said, hold, hold, hold.
I'm not so sure with this wind that this is not a ball that one of the infielders may not have had a better chance of catching than Colby Rasmus today. They were both doing their job in trying to decoy Jeff Francoeur into maybe getting hung up in case Colby Rasmus does catch that ball.
Monty, when that ball got up, it looked like it was a routine out, but the wind just kept on pushing it back, and Moustakas gets a base hit. So 2 on, nobody out for Humberto Quintero.
We've been looking for some breaks on the balls that have been hit hard and been outs, so maybe that's the key. Mike Moustakas just throw a little sandwich out in the center field.
Ball 1. Sun just broke through. Maybe it'll shine on the Royals here in inning number 5. 2 on, nobody out. That's bounced in the dirt. Blocked beautifully by Aaron Sevilla. So the count moves the hitter's way. Quintero has a favorable 2-0 count. Humberto has started this season very well, batting .320 coming in today. He did strike out his first time up against the Toronto lefty.
Quintero's offense has been a pleasant surprise for the Royals.
3-0.
Came over in the trade, and he was really a catch and throw guy. Not much offense expected, but he's been a pleasant surprise with the bat.
He had a career high 25 RBIs last season with Houston. 3-0 is not only inside, it gets all the way back to the screen, so the runners do advance. And the Royals have loaded the bases with nobody out in the 5th inning, and Romero seems to have lost his release point. Well, since 1969, who has the best career batting average with the bases loaded in the major leagues? The answer is... You guessing Joe?
I'm not. I'm actually going to go with another guy that's in the broadcast booth, Pat Tabler.
Pat Tabler was absolutely terrific. 489 with the bases loaded. That's magnificent. Here is Escobar. And Alcides takes outside. He has been swinging a mean bat of late. .438 average. His last 4 games coming into this one. Had a 4-for-4 game last night. Royals need a big hit. Second base, a 4, a 6, and it gets away, and another will score. The Royals cut the Blue Jays lead in half on a bad throw from Yunel Escobar, and out comes the skipper John Farrell, and they're complaining about the slide by Humberto Quintero from first base to second base.
Yunel Escobar making a case that there was some interference on the hard takeout slide by Humberto Quintero at second base. Allowed another run to score and saved an out. really almost a routine double play ball. There was.
Yeah, I don't think Humberto did anything. He just didn't slide. He just stayed up. That's not a big deal at all.
No argument there.
I don't think there's any law in the rule book that says you must slide.
You do not have to slide. You may lose some dentures if you don't slide, but
and they're saying Quintero is out, and that's definitely the case. He was the out recorded at second base. It was on the throw, but the Royals should get 2 runs in the inning. It just says 4-1 up on the scoreboard, but it should be 4-2. Well, did that go the opposite way we thought?
I believe Moustakas scored on the play.
Well, it's my understanding that both Francoeur and Moustakas should score. It should be a 4-2 ball game, but we will get an update from downstairs because right now we do not have the official word from our scorekeeper. Here is the pitch. It's a strike in there. Now, we thought Quintero would be out because it was a force play, so he is definitely out. But on the bad throw, Escobar is safe at first base, and that's where he is.
And now it's on the board.
4-2. Escobar goes. There's the throw, not in time, and Alcides has a steal.
Very confusing play here for a little bit of everyone included. It's like a 4-6-3, but nope. Poor throw to first base. And we're going to see Mike Moustakas get across the plate for the second run.
Productive 5th inning so far for the Royals as Jason Bourgeois stands at the plate with 1 out, and Escobar stealing his 4th bag. So now he is in scoring position where a base hit could make it a 1-run game. Bourgeois more of a singles hitter in the outfield, playing him shallow, particularly in center field with Rasmus. A chopper towards second base, taken care of by Omar Vizquel. This will move Escobar to third, but there's 2 outs now. Romero will face Alex Gordon for the 3rd time. Alex got a base hit his first time up, then struck out swinging in his last at bat. Gordon with 5 RBIs this year. If he can pull the ball, he's got some help with the wind. First pitch is inside, ball 1. The wind has been blowing from the left field foul pole towards the right field foul pole between 15 and 20 miles an hour. A chopper to second. Vizquel tosses out Gordon. The inning is over, but the Royals do score a couple of runs on a couple of hits and a big Blue Jay error. on Tuesday, May 8th against the Boston Red Sox. It is Nurse Appreciation Night at Kauffman Stadium, thanks to Teva Neuroscience. Nurses can get a $10 ticket in the Field Plaza by going to Royals.com/Teva. $10 ticket in the Field Plaza, that is an outstanding seat. So come on down. If you're working in the medical field, you nurses, which you are. Here's the pitch to Davis, and he swings and misses. The Royals had to face 9 Blue Jay batters in their 4-run 5th inning. Davis led off with a double, and here he is again. He's 1 for 2. He shows his socks like the old timers used to. Ajay Davis looking like a old school ball player. Last week we celebrated on Sunday the 65th anniversary of Jackie Robinson, and I was talking with a couple of the Royals about that last week and today. The way Jackie played the game, he still is to this day the only four-sport letterman in UCLA history.
He was a standout, that's for sure.
Number 42. Football, basketball, baseball at UCLA, and track and field. The 2-2 pitch is swung on, popped up shallow right. Foul territory. Hosmer is going to make the catch for out number 1. So Coleman coming out of the bullpen is phase 2, and he has retired both. Keep that up and let the bats keep coming back on Ricky Romero.
Nice to see that little 2-run spot in the 5th after the Blue Jays had put a 4 spot on the board. Chip it away.
And the guy on the mound with a quality arm, Lewis Coleman, out of the state of Mississippi, and the first pitch swinging Arancibia misses strike 1. Lewis was the SEC Pitcher of the Year in 2009, going to a fabulous baseball school in LSU, and he led the Tigers to the College World Series. It's a strike on the outside corner. Matter of fact, he was on the mound as the last out was recorded, sealing the title versus Texas with 2 scoreless innings of relief. Comes from the side, can really be tough on right-handers, and has Arancibia down 0-2. High, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Two and 2. Fouled off again. They'll try it at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Lewis Coleman wants to get his out on this 2-2 count. He does not want to go to 3-2. You got the bottom part of the order. You don't want to give a base runner going into the top part of that batting lineup.
Got him. New for 2012 fans is the Frenchie Quarter. We're talking about Jeff Francoeur, where he has come on out and select Thursday home games to support Jeff Francoeur in his fan seating section. $21 gets you a seat in the right field cheering section, a limited edition Frenchie Quarter t-shirt, and Mardi Gras beads. Nothing could be better. Learn more at Royals.com/Frenchie. And they have so much fun out there in the Budweiser patio. And also, when the gates open, one thing I noticed, Jeff, is that area that's just beyond right field, the fans will run down and secure a spot so they can watch the game just over Jeff's shoulder.
And maybe in hopes of having pizza delivered or maybe a $100 bill thrown their way.
And that's what he did for the fans in Oakland. I'm sure he's done it here at home. He is much loved. The 1-1, you know, I was talking to Jeff before the game about what the team has gone through, this tough 9-game losing streak, and he knows how good they are. But he said his dad, Robert, was one of his inspirations. His mom and dad, but his dad said just never give up, ever. So that's what life is all about, fighting through the difficulties and finding the light at the end of that dark tunnel.
And he is one of the leaders, just like the manager and the coaching staff. He's one of the guys that will eventually lead these guys through the struggle they're facing now.
The 2-2 pitch outside, 3-2 to Yunel Escobar.
I did not know Jeff Francoeur prior to coming over to play for the Kansas City Royals, but he is wearing number 21, which is the number I wore here in Kansas City. And to have someone like him wearing the number that you once wore makes you feel very good.
That's pretty cool. You're the leader of that bullpen, and he certainly is the leader of this very young team. And Jeff himself is 28. The 3-2. Sent foul. Hosmer will give it a look, but that will be back into the seats. And everybody needs that. A guy that when a young player goes through a slump, Jeff can go over to him. I've been there before.
Lead by example.
I mean, Steve Farr, I understand, was your guy when you came up with the Royals.
He was. Steve Farr was a guy like me who had to really kind of fight and scratch to get an opportunity in the major leagues, and he proved that you could do it regardless of your ability.
Short, Escobar. We have our first 1-2-3 inning by Kansas City versus Toronto today. In the 6th inning is our Sonic Slam inning, and our contestant is Jared Ruse from Garnett, Kansas. If the Royals hit a home run in this inning, Jared will win $1,300, but if the Royals hit a grand slam out of the yard, Jared will win $25,000 from Sonic and the KC Royals. Billy Butler will lead things off. He is 0 for 2 with a pair of groundouts. 0 for 6. 0 for 8 now in this series. Romero deals and Butler swings and punches it to third. Laurie bobbles it. Butler is still out at first base. Well, the young man kept the ball in front of him and made the play nicely.
Really stayed with it nice. Just got to be under control to have a chance to pick this ball up and make the play, and he did.
He is an impressive athlete, still just 22. There's a slicer to left field, and look at this. Davis slips and falls down, and the ball found him. So Eric Hosmer is the second out.
That wind playing tricks on the left fielders because that ball was hit pretty well. He goes back. Davis goes back thinking it's over his head. Slips, ends up in the exact right place to make that play.
That's when you're going good and the other team's going bad. And it has been bad for the Royals in the last week and a half, trying to end a 9-game losing streak. Unieski Betancourt takes ball 1. Romero has been very efficient with his pitches. Only 79 pitches thrown, 47 strikes, 32 have missed. Royals on their second pitcher, Lewis Coleman, who's got to go deep. That's a strike.
Well, Lewis Coleman has done a really nice job coming in, bases, 2 guys on base, scoring position, and getting 4 guys out in a row. So he's really done a nice job in giving this team a chance to keep the score where it is.
2 balls, 1 strike. Fouled off. Ricky has allowed just 4 hits and 2 runs. But it has not been easy. Gave up a hit in the first inning, but then got the 6-4-3 double play. Gave up a leadoff hit to Hosmer. The Royals unable to get him home. They've had a difficult time hitting in the clutch throughout this streak. And there is a swing and a miss, and down goes Betancourt, and Ricky Romero through 6 has a 4-2 lead. Brought to you by Steel. Find a helpful servicing Steel dealer near you. Visit steeldealers.com. By AT&T Uverse, the new wireless receiver from AT&T Uverse. Visit att.com/free your TV. Rethink possible. Cool and cloudy gray day in Kansas City. Royals trail by 2. Coleman has pitched very well in his 1 2/3 innings. He's faced 4 batters, retired all 4. Now he will work against Omar Vizquel, batting from the left side, the switch hitting veteran shortstop. And Jeff, I don't know about you, but the best keystone combination I've ever seen defensively, Omar Vizquel at short and Robbie Alomar at second base.
Yeah, Robbie Alomar, Hall of Famer, Omar Vizquel, future Hall of Famer, 2 guys that could really throw the leather.
It almost seemed like if one made an outstanding play in the game, they were so competitive, the other one was going to make a Gold Glove play.
I remember going into Toronto when Robbie Alomar was with the Blue Jays, and I thought he was probably the best player in the American League at the time. He could hurt you with his glove, he could hurt you with his speed, and he could hurt you with his bat.
The 2-1 is fouled back. But it almost seemed like Vizquel and Alomar both knew what the pitcher was throwing, the way where they would feel for the baseball and slap it to right field or hit behind the runner, advancing him. Both were great bunters. The 2-2 pitch is Slipped foul just like that. It's like Visco, no, that pitch I can't handle. I'll just hit it back to the screen.
Well, those guys you mentioned, a big reason why those Cleveland Indians were so good for so long during that period in the 90s.
Visco played on 2 teams that went to the World Series with the Tribe, one in '95, the other in '97. That is tap foul. Spoiled by those Marlins 1 year. It looked like the Tribe would finally get a championship.
And those Marlins, I believe, were a wild card team, another wild card team in the mix this year with the additional wild card. And I talked with Pat Tabler, the broadcast from the Blue Jays, and he thinks that extra wild card may help the Blue Jays have a chance to contend this year.
That ball is popped up shallow right field. Francoeur calls everybody off and makes the catch. Omar is the first out of the 7th inning. The fan vote to pick the starters for this year's All-Star game in Kansas City has started. You can now vote for all of your favorite Royals players. Play your part by punching a ballot when you come out to the game, or go to Royals.com/vote to crown a Royal. And we encourage you to do that, fans, because, man, they sure do in Boston and New York. They stuff the ballot box, even for guys who don't always deserve it. So go ahead and stuff the ballot box this year for your Royals, because it has been 40 years since we, almost 40 years since we last had the All-Star game. 73 was the first, 2012 the next. Time to show off our ballpark and show off our city.
And that screen we're seeing is right off the Royals Hall of Fame, and Joel and I on our pregame show have previewed some features in the Royals Hall of Fame surrounding the All-Star.
We encourage you to go out there and check out the Hall of Fame. They've done a fabulous job. Just the history of the organization, how they got baseball back to Kansas City, and even going back to the old days of the Kansas City Monarchs, and then how they got the Kansas City Athletics and why the A's left. Charlie O'Finley. That ball very well down the left side, and it is hooking and going foul.
You give up a ball hit like Bautista just hit that ball foul, you're very happy when you see him standing in the batter's box, because you know coming off the bat it has some distance.
Wow, did it ever. The 2-1. And that's what really surprises me, Jeff, is how a guy figures it out so late. I mean, he went 6 years, whether it was the minors and the majors. He bounced around from club to club. He was even in Kansas City, and then he figures it out and belts 97 home runs over a 2-year period. How do you figure it out that late?
I think it's a matter of just making an adjustment that was really something that was very obvious, very evident. He just was not getting started quick enough. He was hitting a lot of balls hard foul over the right field dugout. He was hitting over the first base dugout. They make the tweak, make the adjustment. Now he's using the middle of the field and pulling the ball much better.
He will walk with 1 out, so Bautista walks for the 3rd time in this game. That is the first base runner allowed by Lewis Coleman. So the phone call is being made to the bullpen. Mijares is starting to warm up. I would imagine he might be getting ready for Colby Rasmus or Adam Lind taking over as the new designated hitter. They pitch it for Ben Francisco in the 5th. A strike in there. Royals need Coleman to go deep because they have used their bullpen every single night.
Lewis Coleman much more effective in the strike zone today. Spring training, the strike zone was eluding him. He was having difficulty throwing strikes in spring. Seems like he's got it worked out.
The Royals won't have another off day until May 10th. And that will be a travel day when they come from Kansas City and fly to Chicago. It's the pitch. It is in there for a strike, and it's 0-2 to Encarnacion. the dirt, blocked beautifully by Quintero. No advance. New York and Boston series got postponed today. They had a lot of rain in the Northeast. What a comeback by the Yankees yesterday after they trailed 9-0 and then scored 15 runs. It's barely outside. 2-2.
We're going to go back a couple pitches here, Steve. This is a strike 2 pitch. Now you can see that pitch is up in the strike zone. Probably a pitch that you don't want to really play around too much in that part of the strike zone. That was a mistake, but he got away with it.
Jeff, what happens there? Are you getting too much on the side of the baseball where it kind of flattens out in frisbees?
Well, a lot of times you're trying to overthrow it. You try to overthrow it, and exactly the opposite happens what you want. You get less break, and the ball just kind of spins, and we call it a kind of a frisbee slider. Just kind of spins out there, and it's on a sideways plane.
The 2-2. Pop up, foul territory, back and out of play. So your ball moves better the less you put on it.
Right. Here's the good one, where he stays on top and he allows that ball to have finish to it, have life. When it finishes either on the black or off the plate, the hitters have much less of a chance, obviously, to do any damage.
Coleman looking for the double play. The 2-2 is again punched foul. He's getting it up. He's trying to keep it down at the knees or below to get Encarnacion to pound it on the ground. The way he's swinging, perhaps we'll have a 6-4-3 double play and get out of trouble here in the 7th. He has been working him low and away.
He had the one mistake, strike number 2 there that he got away with, but everything else off the plate.
If you count 2 balls and 2 strikes, they might be sending Bautista. Man, when he got hit in game 1 by Hochevar, he got very aggressive on the bases, stole second, was about to try and steal third when the strikeout occurred, and Encarnacion pops it up, foul territory. Hosmer will only be able to watch it go about 10 rows up. Steve Physiak, Jeff Montgomery today at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. Blue Jays scored 4 times in the 5th. Royals counter with 2 in their half of the 5th. Trail by a pair here in the top half of the 7th inning. Big hits in the game have been base hits by Escobar that drove in a run, Bautista, and Brett Lawrie make it 4-0. High in the air to right field. Francoeur waits for the rain to come down with it. And he catches that baseball for the 2nd out. They had a foul ball struck into the stands. And watch this. You give it to the kids, and what do they do with it? Right back out of the field.
He must have been to Wrigley Field in the past.
Oh, that's funny. We have a pitching change. Mijares, a left-hander, has been warming in the Royals bullpen, and here he comes. Our Chevy call to the bullpen. We'll watch Jose Majares trying to get out of the jam in the 7th inning. A man at first base with 2 out. We're in the 7th inning. It's a 4-2 ball game. And Jose getting ready to deal to the lefty. He does. Strike 1.
Majares got good stuff for a lefty. He's really good against left-handed batters. Rex Hudler and I talked to him a little bit yesterday about his breaking ball. He throws actually a big breaking ball and then a more tight breaking ball, more of a cutter type slider.
That may have been it. Moustakas has it. His throw in time. Inning over. Good job by Jose. And Lewis Coleman did a terrific work today in his 2 innings. Frenchie, Moustakas, Quintero coming up. Your next Missouri getaway. These are the Missouri Botanical Gardens. Stroll through 79 acres of landscape display gardens, indoor conservatories, and historic sculptures. Founded in 1859, this is the country's oldest botanical garden in continuous operation. The outdoor and indoor displays include the Climatron Tropical Rainforest, Kemper Center for Gardening, and the Japanese Garden, and many, many more. Let's go to Joel Goldberg.
All right, Fizz, thanks. Ricky Romero on the hill around the league. Panera takes us around the league for some scores, and we see that Detroit and Texas tied up at 2. Drew Smiley pitched in that one well again. Desmond Jennings, 3 RBIs for the Tampa Bay Rays. They're trying to close out the Twins. Baltimore and LA just underway. Cleveland on top of Oakland early. Chicago and Seattle scoreless in the bottom of the first, and the Red Sox will not lose today because they have been postponed, as Steve mentioned. Still probably trying to get away or over that awful loss yesterday. Steve and Monty, let's go back to you.
The Red Sox, Joel, have lost 5 straight games. And to lose after leading 9-0 had to be miserable, and got to wait for another day to try and win a ball game. Much like the Kansas City Royals, who have lost 9 straight games. And Jeff Francoeur and I were talking a little bit about that before the contest, because he says, I know this team is good. We've just got to be able to push us away and get back out on the road and find success. But 2 first, 1 today with Toronto, 1 against the Blue Jays tomorrow before they head to Cleveland. Jeff started the trouble for Ricky Romero back in the 5th inning when he led off with a base hit to left. Moustakas followed with a bloops single. A walk to Quintero loaded the bases. The result was the Royals would get a couple of runs. Here's a ground ball to Laurie, and he throws out Francoeur. 1 down.
Steve, with Ricky Romero now pitching into the 7th inning, this marks the 16th out of 17 start that he's going at least 6 innings. So he is really a bulldog when it comes to gobbling up innings for his manager.
His last 16 starts, not including today, have gone 10-2 with a 2.77 ERA. His team in those 16 starts is 14-2, so the guy knows how to keep his club in it work deep into games, and lead with a W. Beautiful pitch to Moustakas, who's now down in the count. No balls, 2 strikes.
And here today, that is only his 87th pitch, so he's still got some room to go as far as his pitch count's concerned.
Check of the swing, and they will appeal. He did not go, and the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. Royals are trying to turn the momentum. Ned Yost said we've got to get a little bit of momentum going somewhere, but sometimes you've got to go out and grab the momentum. And there's a start by Moustakas with a base hit to left field. He races to second and will make it safely. Moustakas always hustling.
You got to like the way he comes out of the batter's box, thinking two all the way. He's not going to really take anything for granted. Rajai Davis gets to the ball very quickly. He's got that great speed. Moose turns it on here. Really close play at second base, just in time.
Now they want to get that run home. Man in scoring position. The Royals have really struggled in that department in this game and this year. Laurie's able to pick it up on a nice, tough hop and make the play. This young man gets better and better every single day. And I told you, just 4 years ago, he was the Canadian Olympic catcher at the age of 18.
Well, you can sure tell he's an athlete. He knows what he's doing. He's got good feel in the infield, too. Great instincts.
2 out. No advance by Moustakas. It is up to Escobar. Alcides did get an RBI in that ground out when he reached. It looked like he was going to hit into a 4-6-3 double play. But Yunel Escobar, the shortstop for Toronto, made a wild throw, and it scored the second run.
How about Alcides Escobar? 66-point jump in his batting average last night. He would sure love to have another jump in this at bat.
In there. 1 ball, 1 strike. Romero seems to pitch better with men on base. Trying to go 3-0 on this young season. The 1-2 is swung on. A slow ground ball struck to Yunel Escobar. His throw is in time, and that will end the 7th inning. The Royals threaten but do not score. It remains 4-2 Toronto. The Blue Jays with a 4-2 lead over Kansas City. Are you hitting the road? We'll take the Royals with you this year. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Royals out-of-market game live online and on your favorite devices in HD quality. Visit Royals.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. Brett Lawrie will lead things off against Jose Mijares. Lawrie got that big base hit with 2 out in the 5th inning that scored what proved to be the difference in the game. It made it 4-0. Royals came back with 2 in the bottom half of the 5th inning. So Lawrie with 2 RBIs. He now has 11 on the season. I still find it hard to believe that Milwaukee would give this guy up. I mean, they got a talented pitcher in Sean Markham, but Lawrie's going to be around for a long, long time.
See, I think to get quality starting pitching, everyone knows that there's such a shortage of quality starting pitchers in baseball. You know you got to give up a quality player if you're expecting quality starting pitching in return.
The count is 3-1. Inside, ball 4. And as we take a look at our Mazda replay, here's the situation. 2-0 ball game, 2 out. They need a big hit, and he gets it to him.
He's able to do it. He gets the ball up off Danny Duffy, takes it the other way, drives in 2.
Last thing Mijares wanted to do was to walk the leadoff batter, but he did, and Brett Lawrie has stolen as many as 30 bases in a season. It wasn't a minor league season, but he has good speed. And they have been very aggressive in this series against Kansas City.
This very likely will be Mijares' last batter. We've got a right-hander and Davis on deck, and Jeremy Jeffress warming up in the right field or in the left field bullpen.
Stockis gives it a look, out of play, strike 1. And there is Jeremy, just called up from the minor leagues. And the Royals did place Greg Holland on the 15-day disabled list with a left rib stress reaction. Good news, Ned told us before the game, it is no stress fracture. They have found that, so they'll shut him down for 5 days, and then he will begin a throwing program. I believe Lynn went. He did. Mijares has it his way. 0-2.
Steve, because you have a good year the year before doesn't mean that you're automatic for the following year, especially for a young player. But Greg Holland was a guy that we knew something was not right with him based on what we saw last year. Conversely, what we've seen this year.
The 0-2 swung on, hit in the air, left side. Alex Gordon is under it. He makes the catch for the first out. Lawrie had tagged at first base, was thinking about going, did not. Now let's see if Ned Yost will start his walk and bring in Jeremy Jeffress. Yes, he will. So we'll see a pitching change here as Jeffress has been warming in the bullpen this entire inning because Davis, a right-handed batter, will be coming to the plate. 2012. We talked with him about his approach this year.
Coming out of spring training, I just told myself, wherever I go, I just need to pitch and, you know, make them make decisions, you know. So it's been just a learning experience, that's all.
He is a young man that no one has ever questioned his talent because he has an explosive fastball, but the consistency was always the key, and he found that at Omaha.
Yeah, the key for him is always going to be throwing strikes. If he's able to throw strikes, he's going to be just fine. Now, I can go back to my experience of being sent down like he was out of spring training camp. He didn't take a bad attitude. You go to the minor leagues, put up the numbers, force their hand, and that's what he's done.
We will see a pinch hitter, so they'll bring on a left-handed batter for the Toronto Blue Jays to face Jeremy Jeffress. Eric Thames, who started the first two games, the left-hander, takes strike one as Jeffress dots the outside corner at 93 miles an hour.
Jeffress is a right-hander who has the ability to really light up that radio gun. A lot like Calvin Herrera, he can approach triple digits on his fastball.
Popped up left side, Gordon coming on. He knows that wind will continue to push it back to the infield, and he does make the catch for out number 2. Wind whipping at 15-20. Normal days with no wind, Alex barely has to move out in left field to make that play. But Jeremy, talking with him before the game, he said he wanted to be consistent. He said there'd be times where he would not finish off batters, where he'd fall behind in the count. But he said, I wanted to get ahead 0-1 and then finish guys off, not allow them to get back in the count. And he had a excellent 1.5 ERA for the Omaha Storm Chasers. Won 2 games, did not suffer a loss, and had 8 strikeouts in 12 innings.
And he was one of the pitchers the Royals acquired for in the Zach Greinke trade. So, you know, a lot of expectations from him.
There's a base hit to right field. Aaron Sebia comes up with the base hit. The throw by Jeff Francoeur cut off. They fake the throw to first base, I beg your pardon. And Toronto has him at the corners with 2 out. Yunel Escobar.
Well, Aaron Sebia knows that Jeremy Jeffress has a good fastball. He stays back and just goes with the pitch. He goes the other way, punches it to right, advances the runner all the way to third base.
Laurie at third, Aaron Sebia at first. Escobar 1 for 4. That base hit came in their 4-run 5th inning when his RBI single plated a man, and then he would score later on Brett Laurie's base hit. And this has been a real challenging time. The bullpen has not been as strong as we expected it to be. As a matter of fact, the last 4 games, they have blown a lead in the 6th inning or later. 2 losses suffered by Greg Holland, who's now on the DL, 1 by Mijares, and 1 by Everett Teaford. Escobar went 1 ball, 1 strike. You can see the starters on this homestand with an ERA near 7. Most of the bad numbers came against Cleveland by the starting pitchers. But the relievers, I mean, I know there's Soria on the disabled list, Holland on the disabled list, Wood on the DL, and that hurts.
Steve, the fact that the relief pitchers have 35 in their 3rd innings, just an inning and 3rd less the starting pitchers, tells me a story.
Wow. Safe at the plate. It's a 5-2 ball game as Laurie, with a double steal, scores. That was perfectly executed by Toronto.
It really was. Laurie gets a great break off third base. He's anticipating that throw, and sure enough, it goes towards second base. Not a chance at the plate.
appeared that Arancibia had such a good jump from first base, but Laurie's break was so perfect. Betancourt tried to cut it off and come home, but not nearly in time. So it's now a 5-2 ball game. The Blue Jays with the lead. And Escobar drops a base hit to right field. They will hold Arancibia there, and Francoeur with a good throw. So Jeffress cannot stop the bleeding. Toronto now has 5 runs on 7 hits and 1 error. The Royals have 2 runs on 5 hits. Switch hitting Omar Vizquel now will face Jeremy Jeffress. Jeremy came in, got the pop-up from Davis, but then a base hit by Arancibia, and now a base hit by Escobar. In between, the double steal. A chopper to first. Hosmer has it. Inning is over, but the run scores. It's now a 3-run advantage for Toronto.
Jeff Montgomery, double duty, will join me for the post-game show. We'll break down today's left-handed starters. Yes, it's nice and warm in there, too. We'll have a good crowd. We'll talk about offense, runners in scoring position today struggling, and break down tomorrow's pitching matchup, Brandon Morrow and Bruce Chen in the wraparound series. But for now, let's go back to Fizz.
Thank you very much, Joel. Still 6 outs to go. The Royals want to keep the pressure on. Top of the order coming up, Bourgeois, Gordon, and Butler. And there is a ground ball at Laurie is able to knock down. They've got no chance to get Bourgeois. I would guess this would be a hit because Laurie did everything he could, like a hockey goalie, getting down on his knees and taking that one right on the chest.
His only chance is to kill that really like a catcher. Hope the ball ends up in front of him. The ball ricochets off too far to even have a chance to get the speedy Bourgeois.
That's our Jeep replay. Gordon showing bunt, takes a strike.
Steve, one of the difficulties the Royals have faced during this losing streak is that being behind in a lot of games, it takes them out of their game. It takes away the ability to steal the base and to really play for that one run or that small ball like they have the ability to do if they're ahead. Add on. They can't do that now. They got to try to play catch up.
They've been playing catch up the last couple of weeks. Gordon, the left-handed batter at the plate, does have a hit today. There was an error charged to Brett Laurie, his third of the year, as he had to play that tough hop off of his chest and bounce back onto the infield grass.
A little surprised by that. Being a pitcher, I actually had written a base hit down on my scorecard.
Pitch out. Bourgeois not going. The way Romero gets ground ball outs, the Royals must be aggressive on the bases. We told you no starting pitcher in the game has had more double plays turned behind him over the last 3.5 seasons than Ricky Romero. Gordon, though, tries to dump one to center field. It hangs up, though, for Colby Rasmus, and Bourgeois back to first base. Romero to face Billy Butler. Final game of this series will be tomorrow. Bruce Chen going for the Royals. Brandon Morrow going for Toronto.
A little different move we see there. A little step off, almost a throwaway.
Jason goes. They've got him picked off the throw, and now they've got him in a rundown. And Jason's tagged out.
Going to hear the boo birds coming out in Kauffman Stadium on this one, giving away an out on the base paths. Down by 3, tough situation.
You have to make sure that he's going home. Butler takes outside, ball 1. Billy today is grounded into a double play and grounded out to third twice, looking for his first base hit of this series.
We've heard Ned Jones talk about being aggressive. He's not going to lose the aggressiveness, but you also have to be intelligent. If you're going to be aggressive, you have to have that intelligence along. And again, like you mentioned, you have to make sure he's going over. That was probably a first move situation, but you cannot afford to give up base runners.
Ricky Romero going over the 100 pitch mark. He's right now at 102. Would love to get a complete game. He almost had one against the Boston Red Sox when he beat the Sox back on April 11th, allowing 1 run in 8 1/3 innings. This is one of the better left-handers in the game, a 15-game winner last season. Butler smacks it sharply down the left field line, but foul, and it will now go to 2-2. And Ricky with 42 wins over the last 3 years, and he has opened this year 2-0. If he wins this game, he'll have the lead in the American League. Darvish, Malone, Ross, below all have 2 victories. And there's a swing and a miss by Butler. The ball's in the dirt. Arancibia's throw and plenty of time. Inning is over. We head to the 9th. It's 4-2, 5-2, I beg your pardon, Toronto. For his second inning of work, he did give up a couple of base hits in the 8th inning, and that double steal haunted him as Laurie scored from third base on the double steal. And Sevilla was able to successfully steal second base, and as soon as he went towards second, Laurie broke towards home, and the return throw by Betancourt was not in time, and Laurie had the steal, making it a 5-2 ball game. The Blue Jays have the lead as we start the 9th inning, and Jose Bautista will lead it off. He's been on all 4 times with 3 walks and a base hit. Strike one. Blue Jays came in at 8-6 with a half game back of the New York Yankees, who were rained out with Boston today, so Toronto could move into a tie for first place with a victory. Off of Jeffress, Moustakas has it, and how about that on the ricochet?
Jeffress looks like that may have got him on the throwing arm. I'm not sure. It's like the back of the elbow, maybe.
Moustakas alertly threw him out. The play will go 1-5-3. But immediately Kyle Turner came out to check on the young right-hander. He had one moment of ow, and then he turned and asked the umpire for a baseball, and he wants to throw. He wants to show Ned Yost and Dave Island and Kyle Turner that his elbow's all right.
But that's a good sign if he's able to even take a baseball and even see if he's able to stay in the game here. It's a good sign.
He's trying to shake it off. Let's listen.
That sounded like bone to me.
A little bit of emotion. Finishes his discussion with Kyle Turner, and Jeffress back on the hill. 1 out, nobody on. Royals want to get these last 2 outs and set Hosmer, Betancourt, Francoeur up in the 9th inning to try and come back, give their fans a victory they have not seen at the K this year. Still the only team in the bigs without a home victory. Here's Jeremy Jeffress dealing, and it is missing, ball 1. Edwin Encarnacion, the batter. He is 0 for 3. Potentially walked back in the 5th. Danny Duffy got the start, went 4 2/3 innings, struck out 5, but did not have his great command, and Toronto's approach was outstanding. They fouled off every single pitch that was close and piled up his pitch count. Just kept on forcing him into stressful situations, and finally knocked 4 off of him in the 5th inning. Duffy stands to lose this game unless the Royals come back. And the pitch misses, and it's now 3 balls and 1 strike. Romero has gone 8 innings for Toronto.
Seeing a little different velocity from Jeremy Jeffress this inning. Last inning he was in the low 90s. This inning he's mid to upper 90s.
And that ball was misplayed by Jason Bourgeois, who took a step in and then kind of trotted back and didn't realize it was hit so well, and Encarnacion smoked it over his head for a 2-base hit.
Edwin Encarnacion does not miss this 97-mile-an-hour fastball. Actually a pretty decent location if you look at it on the replay, but he goes out. That's how hot he is right now.
The batter is Colby Rasmus. Colby hit 2 home runs yesterday. 1 in the 6th, 1 in the 7th, drove in 4. He now has 3 for the season. 0 for 4 this afternoon, including 3 strikeouts by Danny Duffy. The 1-0 is in there, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Toronto hoping to be better than the 81-81 ball club. The finish back of the New York Yankees last year and others.
Steve, I think a big key for a lot of these young, hard-throwing relief pitchers, especially the Jeremy Jeffress, the Kelvin Herrera, is learning the right mix of the fastball and the off-speed stuff. And regardless of how good your fastball is, these guys see mid to upper 90s every night in the big leagues.
Outside 3-1. How do you get there?
Well, you just have to have confidence. You have to establish the fact that you're going to throw that breaking ball. Potentially like in a 3-1 count here, you have to establish that you have the ability to throw the off pitch for a strike.
How many years were you in the big leagues where you had that confidence?
Well, it took a while because you lose that confidence once you have some results that are not effective. But you have to get right back at it. You have to really master that third pitch in order to be effective.
Ned Yost will make a pitching change here as Jeremy Jeffress struggling in this inning, particularly after he got hit in the back of his right arm. The Royal trainers continue to work on Jeremy Jeffress after he faced the first batter, Jose Bautista, who hit a smash off of his right elbow, and the ball glanced to Mike Moustakas, who threw Bautista out. But since that time, he tried to fight his way through it, but gave up a double to Encarnacion, then walked Colby Rasmus. So Ned Yost made a call to the bullpen to bring out Aaron Crow. This is his 8th game this year. His ERA continues to go south at 3.68, and I mean down in a good way. Opponents only batting .192, but they need Crow to have a quick and efficient inning where he doesn't throw too many pitches, so he's available for many games the rest of this week because he's the Royals' new 8th inning guy with Greg Holland on the disabled list.
Steve, last year we saw Aaron Crow come into situations like this, especially the first half of the season, and do such a great job on stranding base runners.
He has great life to his fastball and one of the best sliders in the game. Pitch is swung on and fouled off. Blue Jays scored 4 times in the 5th. Royals scored 2 in the 5th, but the Jays came back with 1 in the 8th inning, and Kansas City trying to cool them off. In the middle of the order will be up in the bottom of the 9th inning for KC with Hosmer, Betancourt, and Francoeur. 2-1.
Aaron Crow with an above-average fastball that he's able to really kind of spot around in situations. But the out pitch for him, especially against right-handed batters here, like a Brett Laurie, is going to be that slider that's going to finish off the plate for him.
Laurie taps it to the second baseman with the runners going. They have only one play. That's first base, and it's a close play because Laurie hustling all the way. Runners move up to second and third, but 2 outs now in the 9th inning. And that will bring Adam Lind to the plate.
Brett Laurie hustling down the first base on that ground ball to second. He had a chance to go to lunch with George Brett, he and JP Arancibia, and it's one thing George Brett said is, you know, I run hard on every play. I wanted to beat out a ball hit to second base.
Ground ball, Moustakas, he has it, and his throw, and plenty of time. The inning is over. Good job by Aaron Crow, and he only needed 6 pitches, so that's a good sign as Haas, Betancourt, and Frenchie coming up. Miller Lite. How about one for Mike Moustakas?
Yeah, Moose, nice job of hitting here. Goes the other way, comes out of the box knowing he's going for 2 right off the get-go. Does a nice job. Rajai Davis, good wheels in left. Moose able to beat him to the bag.
Francisco Cordero comes out of that Toronto bullpen. He is pitching in his 7th game this year. He's allowed just 2 walks, struck out 6, and opponents hitting .292 off the veteran right-hander. Royals will counter with Eric Hosmer, who is 1 for 3 with a single, a ground out, and a line out.
Francisco Cordero moving up to the closer's role now that they have lost Sergio Santos to the disabled list.
So Santos is on the DL, and Cordero, who has a great history closing games, takes over. He has 327 saves in his marvelous career that has stretched from Detroit to Texas to Milwaukee to Cincinnati and now Toronto. The 1-1, and Hosmer sends it foul, backing out of play left side. Royals in danger of losing for the 10th straight time. Worst start in team history at home.
Cordero was once a power closer, a guy that worked strictly off power, had a power arm, but now he's more of a guy that turns the ball over and sinks the ball, but still an effective relief pitcher.
Tapper to Laurie. His quick toss will get Eric. That's a nice play by Brett Laurie, moving to his right and have to throw off the wrong foot. But he accurately tosses out Eric Hosmer for out number 1.
Well, we've talked about his athleticism. A good display of that right here. Really a nice play. No hesitation. Just enough on the ball to beat Eric Hosmer at first base.
Betancourt looking for his first hit. The Royals only with 5 on the afternoon, 2 runs on 5 hits, 1 error. They've left 4. The Blue Jays with 5 runs on 8 hits, 2 errors. They have left 11. 1 ball, 1 strike.
What a luxury for the Blue Jays to have a closer kind of in waiting in Cordero. Like you mentioned, 327 career saves. He's the second on the active saves list behind Mariano Rivera.
And that was the blessing that the Royals did this in the offseason when they acquired Jonathan Broxton. And they did not know at the time that they would lose Joakim Soria, one of the great closers in the game, for the season to Tommy John surgery. And now both Soria and Greg Holland are on the DL. The Royals have more players in the DL than any team. They have 6 guys on there with Holland, Paulino, Soria, Wood, Perez, Pena, and Lorenzo Cain, who started his assignment today at Northwest Arkansas, and he's eligible to come off the DL on Thursday. It'll be good to see Lorenzo back in center field. Betancourt checked his swing in time. The count moves to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Cordero led the American League in saves back in 2004 with the Texas Rangers when he saved 49 games. Last year with Cincinnati, saved 37 with a 2.45 earned run average. Betancourt sends it foul. Signed a 1-year deal with the Blue Jays in January.
Just an example of never knowing what kind of depth you're going to need. I don't think any of us really could calculate how much this Royals bullpen would miss Joakim Soria. You know you're going to miss a guy when he's been your anchor for so many years in your bullpen, but with the depth that we had and signing the Jonathan Broxton, it just seemed like somebody would pick it up, and so far that's really been a shortcoming.
But it's interesting. You and I were talking in spring training, and sometime as an athlete, you don't feel the pain, but you said you know something is wrong. It happened to you.
Well, that's one of those things that's so difficult to nail down when there's not a very decisive reading on an MRI, for example. You keep going out there, you take the ball, you try to get guys out. And I always say the hitters let you know if something's wrong. And I knew I experienced that the second half of the 96 season. I had a good first half, but I could tell that something was not right with Greg Holland this year. We had suspects last year that something was wrong with Joakim Soria.
Soria, even though he did go through a rough stretch last year, then rebounded and got the saves, but it wasn't the same type of Soria that we'd seen in the past.
Right, and it's impossible for us to know, and it was impossible for him to tell that there was something potentially wrong in that elbow.
Here is the 3-2. It is swung on and popped up, foul, back and out of play. The good news on Holland, though, is it is no stress fracture, so they will shut him down for about 5 days and then begin a throwing session with Greg. And Felipe Paulino will help the mix as well, whether it's as a starting pitcher or as a relief pitcher. That's another power arm that will be coming soon. Well, Betancourt works the walk. That's a start with 1 out in the 9th inning. Cordero had him down 1-2, but Betancourt just fouled off the tough ones to give himself another chance as Dave Island trying to find a mix with his staff to help break this 9-game losing streak. Tomorrow, Chen goes against Morrow, and the game time is 7 o'clock here at the K.
Cordero doesn't seem to have a good feel on the mound. Maybe work a couple base runners and get somewhat of a pop one. That's how you end a streak oftentimes, is when you are surprisingly thinking you're out of the game, you come back and put a crooked number on the board. Maybe send it to extra innings.
Exactly. Keep the pressure on Toronto. The 1-0 pitch is taken for a strike. It is 1-1 to Jeff. Francoeur with 2 RBIs in the season, and both came back on April 7th in Anaheim, so it's been a while. And he smacks that one towards right center field. It will drop. Betancourt heading towards third. They will hold him there. A double for Francoeur. And the Royals will bring the tying run to the plate in Mike Moustakas.
So you'll take base runners any way you can get them, but certainly a double now. Jeff Francoeur standing on second base, eliminating the chance for a game-ending double play, so you got to like that.
You have Mike Moustakas here, and he is 2 for 3 in the game with a single and a double. Quintero is the next hitter, but he has not come out. Now he will go out on deck, or is it Brian Pena? Looks like Brian Pena is coming out to pinch hit for Humberto Quintero. Moustakas with good power. He's hit 2 home runs this year. And he takes that one back up the middle. It glances off the pitcher. Everybody's going to be safe. Betancourt checks in with the Royals' third run. Base hit for Moustakas.
We've seen a lot of pitchers take balls off the arms, off the legs. Now here Cordero takes one off the shin, I believe. No, he actually glances off his glove. Again, we'll take him any way we can get him right now.
The Royals do get a break as it glances off the glove of Cordero. Brian Pena, a switch-hitting catcher, will come up batting from the left side to pinch hit for Humberto Quintero.
I think back now to that 8th inning, that double steal, when the Blue Jays were able to put that extra run on the board. How big is that right now?
Well, the tying run would be 90 feet away with 1 out, with Francoeur good speed at third. But the situation is this. First and third, 1 out, down by 2. Pitch to Pena. Ground ball. This should be 2, 4, 6, and a 3. Game-ending double play. That has been the story, and the Royals' losing streak will stretch to 10 games in a row. The Blue Jays taking the first 3 games of this series by scores of 4-3, 9-5, and today 5-3. We'll come back to wrap it up after this.